Hey, beautiful souls, welcome in. If you're new here, my name is Jane. I was guided to bring this message today because, I didn't want to, but Spirit mentioned to me that if it's happening to me, it's happening to others. So I thought that I would just get into this. So if you're tuning back in, I'm glad to have you. And I would like to welcome all my new subscribers. I'm really appreciative of your time to learn about the universe and what I can do, what we all can do. And, we're all in this together. We're all one. So if this is happening to me, it must be happening to other people. So, Spirit, they had me climb out of bed last night and write down the words astral parasites. And then I just did a bunch of notes here so that I could bring this message. So what they just basically said that these entities, like, they feed off human energy. So they're also known as psychic vampires and or spiritual parasites. So they can mimic spiritual guides or deities to gain access to you, to us, all of us. Okay, so this is something that has been happening for a really long time. And also, as we can, like, just clearly look around the world and see the news and what's going on everywhere, that evil and negative things have been ruling the world, and it's all now being exposed. So with that, that's prevented a lot of the light to come through. And now that that is shifting, these energies, because they know that we're blinded to it, they know that we're covered, like, we have a veil over us and we cannot see them, though they can clearly see us. They can see the light that we hold within us, and that is something that they are trying to squash or manipulate and control, because these kind of energies, they need to feed off of that. They need the negativity to continue their existence on the level, the 3D world. That's why they talk about things like ascension and awakening, and that's what leads me to doing this video, because I was attacked last night. It started off slowly, and it just continued all night long, and then it continued on into this day. And I went for a nature walk this morning with my dogs, and I was given quite a bit of downloads, trying to talk to me of what was going on and how the energy was being manipulated around me and what was happening. So I just wanted to share that with you as they asked me to. So this deck here, they pulled out 3, and the dragons are guiding us here today. So I did a huge cleanse before I started this, because I was getting, like, they didn't want me to deliver this message, and I was getting like a really bad pain, not in my third eye, but beside it. It was on the right, and then it switched to the left, so I knew something was really off. Also, I was getting like really bad pain in one of my feet, one of my feet, one of my in my left foot, and that is something that's not normal. So I thought something was really off. Anyway, so it come up with the Empress, the Devil, and the Tower, and I thought, well, how fitting is that for this reading? And then they asked me to bring out my dragon tarot deck, and I shuffled it and I flipped it over, and Justice on the bottom, and I thought, how funny is that? Because they and also this card popped out, and I shoved it back in, shuffled it again, flipped the deck over, and sure enough, she's back on the bottom. So I'm just going to go with the flow here today. So they were telling me about how like, who is attacked, and it's why they do it. They what they're attracted to. They're attracted to negative emotions. They're attracted to fear, anxiety, and thought forms that are like trauma based. So, I think all of us have gone through trauma. I know I've had my fair share of it. I've dealt with a lot of narcissistic people, family members, a lot of, just hate in general, a lot of abandonment issues, things like that. So they also, they'll attack you if you're spiritually vulnerable. and your psychological wounds. So those are the main things. Now, and how they do it, I'm going to briefly just talk about a few things here. What they do is they amplify emotional distress. That's due to imbalances, like energetic imbalances. So if you're having like a really bad day, and you get really terrible information, or something really terrible happens to you, or you think about some kind of trauma that you had from previous years or days, or childhood even, um, and you have those bummed out days. They will take advantage of that. They sense it, and they're just like, ooh, vulnerable, and they're always kind of like hanging around us all the time. It's not to scare you, but they really can't, like, they're not going to, like, like, try to suffocate you when you're sleeping and that kind of stuff. They're not capable of doing that. It's all they're capable of doing is leeching off of your energy. So I'm going to give you some ideas of how you'll know, because what they do is they attach to our aura, right? And our auras are like an energy field that we have that emanates from off of our souls, basically, right? And so what they do is they drain that vitality. So some of the common symptoms of that is like chronic fatigue, unexplained anxiety, depression. You could have like really depressive episodes, or an increased depression and prolonged depression, intrusive thoughts, and physical sensations like pain or pressure, just like I was talking about earlier. So, so there's some prevention and removal things that we can do about that. But, this is something that you have to be aware, because everybody's like going through awakening stages. And this can happen during, and it can increase during an awakening. Again, not to scare you, but just got to remember, like, that when you're going through an awakening, what it does is it opens up like an energetic portal so that you can connect to higher energies. But when you're connecting to those higher energies, you're also connecting to a wider range of energies as well. So how I'm going to explain it is, when you go out on the street, and I'm going to just use women for an example, because it's, or okay, we'll use children for example. So, your children are outside playing, and you're always keeping an eye out on them. You're keeping an eye, you make sure they don't leave the yard. You make sure that they're, with other kids that are not going to be bad influences. You don't want them to be around people that like drug addicts, and not saying that those people are bad, because we all have our problems, but you don't want them to be around predators. Let's put it that way. So you don't want them to be, like, hurt, or, just whatever, you know what I mean? So that, how like in your physical world, like you always use caution, like, you look twice before you cross the street. Well, it's the same thing. So, it's the same thing in the energetic world. There's always things that are lurking, waiting to take advantage of, you know, people that are just not paying attention, that are, just got their heads down in their phones as they're walking. But then there's, somebody ready to steal their wallet. You know what I mean? So that kind of, predatory thing is what I'm talking about. And that's in the physical and in the energetic. So, there's some prevention and removal things that we can do. Prevention really is to keep your vibration as high as you can. And we all have low days, but after you have like a really bad day at work, or you have a bad day with, get bad news or whatever, trying to cleanse your energy and protect your aura is really your best mode of prevention. And the other thing too is, if it's really, really bad, is if you're having like really vivid nightmares and or sleep paralysis. I know they are just like, oh, your brain's awake, but your body isn't. That's just it, that's not what it is. Sometimes I know one of my brothers actually mentioned to me how he had this entity on his chest. I considered it a hag, but that's what it was doing. It was trying to latch onto his aura, trying to connect to him, but he's a very strong-minded, strong-willed individual. So, he woke up and he's just like, get the F out of here, and you're not welcome here, and get the F off of me, and like he just stood in his power, right? And he blasted that thing, and boop, it disappeared. So that's how you have to always be. Like, you always have to have that inner power to manage this kind of stuff, right? So you can do the aura cleansing, you can do spiritual protection, and the biggest thing is, if you have a lot of trauma, which most of us do, like, let's be real here, is doing your shadow work. And shadow work, if you don't know what that is, shadow work is when you just go through you just finally face the traumas. You deal with, if you were molested as a child, you seek counseling, you do all your purging of it, you try to heal from it, like all those things, like, like even like mental illnesses, a lot of that are parasites, right? I'm not saying that it's all parasites, but the parasites really do attack those people more because, they just think like, oh, I got all these terrible thoughts, I got all these terrible feelings, but it's these energies that are amplifying it to make it way worse for them. Okay, so with that being said, I'm just going to read what these cards are. So this is Empress, and it's the dragon's breath nurtured. Oh my God, the words are so puny here. I'm kind of disappointed with these. The dragon's breath nurtured life with fiery passion. The Empress embraced its warmth, nurturing growth and vitality amidst the flame's transformative power. So just like a mother has that, and I'll tell you, that's something too, like when women, most women, like, they don't stand in their power until they have children. And then once their children are born, that mama bear comes out of them. So if their babies are being in danger in any way, boy, that mama bear comes right out of them. And, like, but they could have been the most meek and mild person for years and years and years, and nobody knows where that comes from. But, it's triggered by wanting to save your children. So that's what they're talking about, this transformative power here. And then, of course, what do you have? The devil, of course. So the devil's always in the middle of everything. And that's the thing, too, is because the light is starting to, they're trying to balance more because the darkness has ruled the world for so long. And now that the light is being held by, like people like me and people like you, we all hold our light in our own way. And, so, you could be receiving these attacks, especially if you're thinking poorly about yourself on certain days. That's probably some kind of parasite, like sucking the life out of your aura. So within the dragon's breath, the devil's temptations ensnared souls amidst its flames. Desires burn fiercely, binding those who succumb to internal allure. So that's where, that's why there's so much corruption in the governments and in the world, because, the devil has ensnared people into, like, oh, we'll make you rich, and, we'll make you beautiful, and like it's all an illusion, because what they're doing really is they're selling their souls. But you can always, ask for forgiveness and call Jesus into your life. Okay, so then the tower is within the dragon's breath. The tower's upheaval shattered illusions amidst the inferno. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Its destruction cleared paths for renewal, awakening amidst fiery trials. So that's really what this is all about, is how these energies are, they're trying, I mean, like, let's face it, they're trying to cling on. I mean, it's they're fighting for their life just like you're fighting for yours. So they have their place in the universe. I'm not saying, like, because it's about the balance. Okay? So these are the three main energies here. So we have the Empress that, that breathes life, and we have the devil in the middle here, And then we have the Tower, which is, going to try this balancing. See, I mean, we even have the Justice here with the balancing. Look, and High Priestess right behind it. Okay, so we're going to keep this card here just because it's popped out a few times. We know that, that we're trying to create a balance here. So I'm just going to mix this up and set this aside. Yeah, Ten of Swords on the bottom. Ten of Swords is being stabbed in the back, creating all that heartache, and, so they can feed off of it, right? Oops, the card went sliding. These are slippery. All right, Spirit, where do you want to begin here? I don't want to start with that. Okay, so they want to start with what's the vibe here. So I think we already know what the vibe is. Okay, I'm taking these. Yeah, so it's a glow up. That's exactly what's happening. So you are going through an awakening process. So you're probably going to be struggling with these energies. They're asking me to pull out a few of these instead here. Okay. So let's begin with a few of these cards. Faithfulness. Yeah, this is something that you have to be doing faithfully, because, like, even like with me, like, I meditate all the time. I cleanse my aura all the time. I wear I put on like golden cloaks. I put on the armor of God. I mean, I do all of that, but they still sometimes get in, you know what I mean? And I did notice it yesterday afternoon. And I'm going to tell you why I think they were able to get in is because I was spending too much time on my phone, and I was on like Facebook a little bit, and I was on and I was on TikTok, and those are like, there's so much yuck that goes on. I mean, there's beautiful things that happen there too. I mean, you can see how people help others and things like that, but there's a lot more negative things than there are positive. Or, I mean, I guess it depends on the day, really. True nature. I know the eternal. Look at that. See what I'm talking about? How, look, this is exactly what they're, and then source right underneath it. This is what they're talking about. See, I know the, now they're not showing this as like a negative energy, but this is basically how it is. Like, see how it, like, it's like sucks right out of the heart here, and you notice here the love, and it says love and let yourself be loved. That's what they do. They use your own emotions against you. So you have to have some faithfulness to source. Okay, so I'm going to get me pull out one of these here. I mean, I had to do a whole thing just to do this reading. Because just as I was writing down all that information, I was getting those pains in my head. I was just like, what is going on? I was super tired. I was getting those pains in my head. I was just feeling really yucky, and I was just like, I think I need to lay down. I can't do this reading. But then I realized, oh, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to prevent me from doing this reading. So they're like, I think I was being ganged up on. There's another one in here they want me to... Okay. focused, guardian, sacred builder. Yeah, even when I was like doing my dog's nails this morning, she clawed me. Sacred builder. You know, notice how he's got himself surrounded by all the selenite. Ah, okay. Because selenite is it's a purifier. It can cleanse. So maybe that might help you. Okay, and they want me to pull one of these here. And we're going to get this reading on the go here and find out what they want us to know. I mean, I think these 3 dragon cards right here kind of just said it all, didn't it? You could be seeing the numbers 111 or 222, number 3s. Oh, there we go. I was going to get ready to pull it out. Bookstore cat. Okay, let's see what they want us to know here. All right, I think that's enough. Oh, okay, one more. You know, this gives me Mary Magdalene. Love and let yourself be loved. Yeah, like, look, it flipped over. Unleash the wild within. Just like I was saying how, I was telling that little story about how my brother was told that hag, I called it a hag, elder, healing through the lineage. Yeah, see, that's the other thing too. You could be a little shapeshifter. Yeah, transform and unveil your gifts. You could be healing your family lineage as well, and you're going to have attacks because the family lineage is where they, you know, they can bring traumas that aren't even yours. I mean, they're not even yours. It's just something that you've been born with, and now here we are, and you have to deal with it. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. That's why they're going after your heart, because of this, the lineage thing here. Yeah. Okay, so true nature. Let's see what this other one is here. Spirit, look at that. I am filled with light. Exactly. You have to fill yourself with light. I was wondering how they were going to make all this work. So change me, divine beloved, into one who knows the true nature of our souls. Awaken me to the knowledge of the eternal. Let me know my true self as consciousness. Oh my God. And then, of course, source was right underneath. Well, you are my source. Change me, divine beloved, into one who knows that you are my source. Fill me with the confidence and faith so I know I never have to beg, just gratefully receive. Because the devil, you end up begging in the end when it comes to those devil energies. So spirit, I am filled with light. I don't think I've ever seen this card before. These are all the chakras, right? And that's your crown. So change me, divine beloved, into one who knows my spirit as eternal and ageless. Let me release any old ideas of constriction or limitation. My whole being is filled with joy, energy, and beauty, a vessel for the divine. Shakti. Okay, yeah, because that's what they're talking about here. This restriction and limitation is because of the healing through the lineage. And you have to know thyself, because love and let yourself be loved. That is knowing that that's what you are. You're all love. See, and this is your soul. That's what they're showing here. That's your soul that lives within your heart space. But also it represents like these things that, are always around us, right? Wow. Okay, let's see what this one is. The autobiography. Okay, and that was in reverse. These are read in the reverse. So let's see here. Oh, I think they wanted another one of these. Let me grab one of those before it gets I get too into this. Okay, you see how she's looking into this pond and it's like a mirror of herself? That's what they do. They take any pain you have and they mirror it back to you, but so that you end up in like this loop of depression, this loop of anxiety, this loop of pain. But see, the autobiography, that's about, you write your own story. I think. Well, that's what autobiography is about your story. So it's in reverse. And it's under the Empress. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to mess with the Emperor or the Empress. Yeah, they don't want you to have independence. Okay, Spirit, what is the other card here? Plans. Yeah, just as the devil has plans, so does Source. The one has plans too. A lot of people don't like the word God. Let's see what this autobiography in reverse is. Reverse. When reversed, this card offers a world of caution. Tell the truth, but remember that not everyone is entitled to know all your private details. Before you spill a vulnerable secret, pause and make sure this person has earned your trust. Yeah, so you do always have to be aware of the people that you have in your life. I guess we all know a little bit about what that's like, right? Doubt this devil here. Number 22. That's not the first time they brought out that number 22. I saw that in another card. Oh, yeah, here, this one, where it says focus, guardian, sacred builder, 22. And didn't I say that 22? Oh, I didn't. But I was supposed to. 22 and 22. Yeah, 22, 22. 4 twos. Yeah. Support, law. Yeah. And support 41, that breaks down to a 5, which is change. So you have right under the tower here within the dragon's breath, the tower's upheaval, shatter illusions, amidst the inferno, its destruction cleared paths for renewal, awakening amidst fiery trials. So you're going to be receiving support. See, and this is the thing, your support is always there, but you always have to remember to call it in. If you're getting these intrusive thoughts, you need to stop and say, what's going on? And call in your angels, call in your ancestors, call in your source, call in, past loved ones. They're all there. Wonderment, orb healing. And I just say about calling in your past over loved ones, because they show up as orbs. Sovereignty or magical creation. Orion, magical creation. That's under the true nature here. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then look, it comes right under the healing, the lineage, and then I brought up the orbs. It's funny, Spirit. Boy, they make me laugh. Okay. Okay, there's something else. What do you want? I want one of these here. Okay. Yeah. Always need to be questioning everything. You have to question everything. The devil in his snares, I just heard. The devil snares a lot and binds. And that's the thing. It's the binding, right? Yeah, look at that. My body is healthy, strong, and beautiful. And it says here, I trust my intuition and decision-making abilities. I possess self-discipline and self-management skills. And they come right out underneath. spirit here. You know, your intuition is basically your spirit. You know what I mean? Like that's your soul communicating to you. Well, these are all. My present brings change and inspiration to others. Yes, because you hold the light. Just like I said, you know, you're a magical being. And you know that's why the devil doesn't want they don't want that to be they don't want to change. They're like I said, they're fighting for their lives. Like they're trying to pull out everything they can. Okay, so let's see what the vibe is. Let's see what's going on in the energy around us here. Well, I pretty much know what that is, right? No, feminine energy, gentleness, nurturing, mothering. You know, that's the Empress, right? Again, though, you need to be careful who you have around you. Hmm. You know, it looks like this dragon is kind of doing like a side eye on this energy here. I want to cover up the dragon cards because they're so beautiful. Okay, so what do you want here for this doubt and the devil? And look at that. Like I said, it caused stressed out migraine and worry. That's exactly what it does. It creates a tension within you. So when you start receiving that, you need to start doting it and find out like, okay, what's going on? Yeah, we'll glow up on the bottom again. Because you need support for this, because of this glow up that you're going to have. We'll smell the roses. I was just talking about this is Mary Magdalene. Magdalene is associated with roses. Oh my God. It says here, smell the roses, slow down, take some you time, get out in nature. Yeah, you know, your loved one, you know, even though you could be doing uh, cleansing, like lineage type work, cleansing the lineage, um, your ancestors, you could call them in and ask them to help because, I mean, it's a lot of theirs too, right? You know, like, yeah, it happened to them, but it's been from generation to generation. I mean, it could go all the way back from like Jesus days even, you know what I mean? Okay, so oh my gosh, spirit. Let's see here. You know, if you're living in this day and age, like if you're you know, you might not believe that you're healing your family lineage and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure that everyone that is walking the earth now has a purpose. Yeah, because look, chaos, upheaval, and disaster, downfall. That's what's going to end up happening. Yeah, you could be anyone that's clingy, old exes, dead relationships, old ways. Yeah, all of that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so you even have waves, emotions, worry, and fear. Good grief. And that's coming from this. That's coming from this this type of energy. Oh my gosh. Oh. See, suffering in silence, unbroken desires, real feelings, broken dreams. See, they do feed off all of this stuff, right? So you need to know your internal soul. Like that's why know thyself. Yeah, karmics, look at that. You know, and they're always masked, hiding, concealing, and deception. Always. You know, it comes from third-party haters too, right? And that's what it says here, like third-party haters, third parties, haters, and lessons learned. So this is where, these energies over here, these parasites that I was talking about, and laughing, that is the fastest way to expel them away from you. Yep, they leave you exhausted. It's time, though. Yeah. It's time to be aware of that. Be aware of them. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. Ooh. Just had to check. I just had a feeling that they were messing with the recording. Look, time again. Look at that. Waiting, cycles, moments. That's what they're always doing. They have nothing but time. So when you're busy living your life and you're busy just dealing, putting out fires and going on, whatever you have going on, they're always waiting. They're waiting for the moments when they can increase your negative thinking, when they can put tension in your life. Every time that you get like a happy moment and a glow up, oh, they hate that. But when you're suffering in silence, and see, and emotions and stuff, they come in waves. They really do. So, you let them come in the waves, and you cry it out, and you yell, and do whatever you need to do to, feel the feelings and accept what it is. Like, you don't have to suffer in silence, right? But what you always have to remember is you can't linger there too long. You know what I mean? Like, go through all the emotions, spend, a few hours if you need to, and cry, and go exercise to cleanse your head, and go soak in a salt bath, or you can even add like a little bit of salt into your, like mineral salt into your water, and it'll help purify you. You can look up different ways of purifying your space. I use Palo Santos. I use frankincense is the best because it's the strongest. You could put salt in the four corners of your house. You can put salt along the edges of your windowsills and doorways. There's different things that you can do, because that there's, yeah, and try to avoid conflict and stuff. Yeah, conflict, breaking point, and possibilities. Okay, so what I was thinking about is, I was just thinking about how I saw this woman on TikTok, and she teaches people how to do spells, and she's very negative, and she teaches people how to do, like, terrible spells. And I made a comment on her thing one day, and I was just, like, please, just forgive people. Like, don't, do these kind of spells. These are really, this is going to be really terrible for you, because it's going to bring like really bad karma for you, because what you put out in the world is what you receive back. So if you're wishing bad things to others, and you're masking and concealing your deception, that's only going to come back on you. So it's best to fill your spirit with the love. You know what I mean? Fill your spirit with love, and just let the universe be as it is. There's enough negativity in the world. You don't need to add to it. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah. Trusting, reliable, believing. Yeah. You have to have this. You have to have that loyalty to yourself too, right? Okay, so what do you want here for this tension? Tension and doubt. Peace. There you go. Well, this glow up, have deep love, unity, and connection with this glow up, new opportunities, new career, and successful business. And you're going to have support, because you'll end up with a beautiful soul. Look, open heart. Right on the, and it comes right out with emotions where it low, and that is right, comes right out with what does she say here? Heart guardian, love, and let yourself be loved. Have that open heart, because it's that open heart that's going to cleanse. Absolutely, Spirit. You know, and I was just talking about the mirroring over here, but that's like a mirror too. Look. It's a twin flame, mirroring, shared feelings, reflection. And that's exactly what you want to do. Whatever you put out in the world, you want that to be reflected back to you, right? So you don't want to be putting out pain. You want to be putting out good things, right? One day, someday, somewhere, another time. Okay, so what do you want over here for this karmics and masked? Emotional storm, turmoil's unstable and affected. And that's exactly what happens. It's exactly what it does. One day it's back on the bottom. All right. Let's see here. Is there anything else you want? This? Okay. So I'm going to bring out a few tarot cards here. You notice that they brought out loyalty, peace, soulmate, open heart, twin flame. See how they're, you know, just as equally as there's like negative, you know, energies, there's the equal balance of positive. Okay, so let's pull out a few cards here. Oh, I guess we're taking two. Three. What's this one? Sire of Wands. I don't know what they mean by sire. I'm going to think that's the Knight. The Knight of Wands. Okay, so this one here. The Chariot. Exactly. This is the this is where you know what I mean? You're on the right track. You're it's coming in quickly. Also, it is where you've gone through the emotional storm. You've, you know, healed some of that shadow self, or a lot of that shadow self, because that's, you know, that's what the Chariot is. The Chariot is all about, you know, finally emerging and being able to move forward. You have the Knight of Cups. You know, it's got a polar bear here. I think that's carrying a seal. That seal looks like it's in, oh, it's in a cup. The seal is in the cup. That's cool. So it's protecting it from the from the polar bear. See, and you notice that it's they had me put it so that it was right on the devil card and the tower with like the support here. Yeah, the King of Cups is all about emotional stability and compassion, trust. Yeah, because without that emotional stability, you wouldn't be able to move forward. What's this one? The Four of Wands. Yeah, Spirit. Because you're going to, this is about resting and taking care of yourself. And okay, a couple more here. The Three of Swords. Yeah, this is all about the pain. It's healing all that pain. The emotional storm. So this is the whole point of know the eternal, know thyself, know your spirit. Know that it's karmic stuff that you're dealing with. Know that you're dealing with these deception type people, because if you know yourself, then these kind of intrusive thoughts are not going to win. Yeah, because they just want to create a little Five of Wands. It's all about the conflict and the arguing and the emotional turmoil and yeah. Yeah, new beginning, the Fool. Again, the High Priestess that came out in the very beginning before I started the reading. Okay. So what else? Oh, okay. So then these, and then they want me to close the reading. Okay. Let's see here. Notice that there's a swan here. Now, I wonder if that's why they brought out the soulmate, because I think you feel really alone, because swans, I mean, there is a swan there, but it's barely in the picture. So I think that, that is something that they're going to bring in some connections so that you're not alone and doing this by yourself anymore. Because, keeping us separate is a good way to heal, but also it gets taxing after a while, right? All right, Spirit. Oh, there we go. Yeah, going through the labyrinth, exactly. Raising your energetic vibration, enlightenment, and that's the whole point. And I said that at the very beginning, that, the best way is to raise your vibration, because these things can't, they can't feed off of you when you have your vibration high. Look, and happy love, a joyful, stable partnership, and good friends. Just like I said, they're going to be bringing them in. Yeah, safe and happy travel. Yeah, with the Chariot. Yeah, protection from harm when journeying. Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about. Oh, this was supposed to go there, and this goes there. It's a beautiful, Spirit. Well, more fire here. Number 17. The element of fire heralds new life and positive transformation. Right underneath is God. Oh, there's two cards. Goddess, feminine energy. There's a lot about the feminine energy here. Ask the element of earth for grounding and stability and strength. I'm going to tell you too, that grounding is really important, and meditating is really important. I think they're talking about so much of the feminine is because the masculine has been so heavily ruling the earth for so long, that they're trying to bring everyone to heal their feminine. Even if you're a male, they want you to heal your feminine, and the feminine to heal their feminine, so that, and masculine, so that it balances. You know what I mean? It's all about that balance. Like when I started with this deck, and it had about the balance. Okay, Spirit. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay, so I hope this video finds you well. If you've enjoyed it, if you learned anything, hit the like button and subscribe if you want more videos. And I guess I'll see you on the flip side. So sending love and light. Bye, everyone.